Now, I know that some people, they go to concerts like this, and this concert in particular, and they think, well, it's a thing about, comedy and classical music. I won't get the jokes. And I know that people feel that there are, to some extent, holes in their knowledge. People think that classical music is elitist. Well, I don't think it's elitist, and neither does my butler. People feel they've got holes in their knowledge. So tonight, just at this precise moment, we are about to fill those holes with our very special guest, Zeb Soanes. Welcome him back on stage.
We present a history of music. It is 200,000 years BC. Mankind has just pulled himself out of the primeval sludge which would later become known as Slough. Sitting in their cave, a mammoth skin is stretched over a frame and hit with a bone. It is the first primitive drum, and a primitive person to play it, the first drummer. It was good. The other cavemen and cavewomen grunt their satisfaction. No, really, grunt their satisfaction. Another caveman bores holes in a bone and blows. The first recorder. It was bad. The other cavemen grunt their dissatisfaction. But melody, once invented, could not be uninvented, except by the Smiths, who were to base their entire career on 2 notes. Rhythm and pitch. The history of music had begun. Then came Bach. Now, we've missed out a few there, but they were all rubbish. Bach, Johann Sebastian, son of Ambrosius Bach, great-grandfather of Bert Bacharach. No, that's a brilliant joke, I assure you. Wrote 1,100 pieces, had 2 wives, 20 children, died at the age of 65, knackered. Johann Sebastian famously said that in order to play a keyboard, you just have to run your fingers over the keys and it plays itself. Turned out to be rubbish. Bach is followed by Haydn, whose Surprise Symphony still has the power to shock. 1756, and above an old stable in the heart of bustling Salzburg, very close to the Sound of Music tour, a child is born. A child who will transform the history of music. His name is Andrew Lloyd Mozart. The young Andrew Lloyd could play piano at 3, violin at 5, and by the age of 6 had completely unaided taught himself the horn. Don't encourage him. He's only 6. We're trying to teach him that failure is also okay. Deaf Beethoven. 9 symphonies, 6 concertos, an opera, and some of the most excellent sonatas and stuff in the history of music. But despite all that, he is to be remembered for just one piece. Für Elise, or For Elise, Grade 3, the bane of piano teachers and music shop owners the world over. But it is a mere trifle, is it a bagatelle? No, as his last breath left his body, the unmarried, rejected Beethoven was heard to say, "It was all for you, Elisa, you cow!" 1822, Vienna, and Franz Schubert is writing what will become known as the Unfinished Symphony. After 200 years of speculation, this orchestra can finally reveal why it remained unfinished. And that is why Schubert's Unfinished Symphony remained unfinished. Germany, 1842, and Felix Mendelssohn writes this. The Wedding March. Now, take that rhythm, put it in the minor, and what do you get? The Funeral March by Chopin. Well, we are also in the midst of the golden age of opera. Any opera fans in? Yes. Or liars. Well, they include, of course, William Tell by Rossini. Aida by Verdi. And the most successful of them all, Carmen by Bizet. Now, if you haven't seen Carmen, here's a quick summary. It takes place in Seville, in Spain. There's a soldier, Don Jose, who falls madly in love with Carmen, who's a gypsy. She gets put in prison, he gets her out, and then he goes into prison. She does a mad gypsy dance for him. He wants her back, she won't have him back. He stabs her, she dies at the end. And there's a bullfight. Meanwhile, in Russia, Tchaikovsky is dismissive about his latest composition, the 1812 Overture, even though it is already #1 in the Classic FM Hall of Fame. He famously commented, "What a load of old rubbish, and I have a feeling I might have overdone the canons." In Germany, Richard Wagner writes this, and some other tunes. Then came the 20th century, and this. Atonality. Now, the people chiefly to blame for atonality are Arnold Schoenberg, Anton Webern, and Yoko Ono. Well, she may not be responsible for atonality, but she's definitely responsible for breaking up the Beatles. Now, in order to make sense from the chaos, in 1921, Schoenberg creates 12-tone music, or serialism. In normal tonal music, you only use notes selectively to create your melody, depending on the key the piece is in. Now, Schoenberg used all the notes. There are 12 of them, and this is what all the notes sound like. Jumble them up any way you like to create your atonal melody. Mix it up a bit between the instruments. A bit faster. Add a bit of rhythm. Plus a bit of accompaniment, what do you get? strip out the tune, ditch the harmonies, and where are you left? We are back in the same place we began exactly 200,000 years ago in the history of music.